Raindrops raced down the window pane, just like the race cars Aaban loved. But today, 9-year-old Aaban and his 7-year-old sister, Sarah, were stuck inside. "I'm so bored," Sarah sighed. "I know," Aaban said, his eyes lighting up. "Let's go to the Old Town Library." The library was quiet and smelled like old paper and adventures. Tall shelves packed with books stood like sleeping giants. "Wow," Sarah whispered, looking up at the towering rows of books. As they tiptoed down an aisle, they heard a soft sound, like the rustling of pages. "Did you hear that?" Sarah whispered, grabbing Aaban's arm. Aaban put a finger to his lips and listened carefully. A tiny voice whispered from the shadows, "Find the hidden book. Find the secret." Aaban and Sarah looked at each other, their boredom forgotten. A treasure hunt! They began to search. Aaban stood on a ladder to check the high shelves, while Sarah peered into shadowy corners below, hoping to find the source of the whisper. "Brother, look!" Sarah called out. In the darkest corner of the library, a single book was giving off a soft golden glow. It was tucked away behind a stack of old maps. Aaban carefully pulled the glowing book from the shelf. It felt warm and seemed to hum with a gentle energy. The cover was made of old leather, and in shimmering gold letters, the title read, "The Secrets of Courage." With a deep breath, Aaban opened the book. A swirl of purple and black mist rushed out from the pages, forming a tall, shadowy figure with no face. "I am fear," it hissed, its voice like the wind in a storm. "And you are just little children." Sarah hid behind Aaban, her eyes wide with fright. The shadow of fear grew taller. "You can never be brave," it whispered. But then another voice, warm and kind, came from the book itself. "Courage is not the absence of fear," it hummed. "Courage," the book's voice continued, "is doing what is right, even when you are afraid." Sarah peeked out from behind her brother. She was still scared, but the words made sense. Aaban took Sarah's hand. Together, they stood up tall and faced the shadowy figure. "We might be scared," Aaban said, his voice shaking just a little, "but we will always try to do the right thing." As they stood together, united and brave, the shadow of fear began to fade like smoke. The book glowed brighter, filling the room with a warm, comforting light. But the adventure wasn't over. The pages of the book began to flip on their own, landing on a new chapter, the Forest of Whispers. A bright light shone from the page, pulling them in. They found themselves in a spooky forest. The trees had gnarled faces, and whispers swirled around them. "You're too small," hissed the wind. "You'll get lost," a tree seemed to groan. Suddenly, they heard a soft cry. Through the mist, they saw a small, luminous fawn caught in a tangle of thorny vines. It looked at them with big, scared eyes. The whispers grew louder. "The thorns are poison! Turn back!" Sarah hesitated, but Aaban remembered the book's words. "We have to do what's right," he said. and carefully began to work on the vines. Seeing her brother's courage, Sarah found her own. She picked up a sturdy stick and used it to gently pry the thorns away from the fawn's leg, while Aaban untangled the rest. Freed, the fawn nuzzled them both before darting away, leaving a trail of light. The light formed a clear path through the dark woods. As they stepped onto the path, the world dissolved around them in a warm glow. They were back in the library. The sun was streaming through the window and the rain had stopped. They placed the book on a table for the next person who might need it. Walking home, hand in hand, they didn't need a book to know what courage was. They had found it in themselves. Thanks for watching the video. Please like and subscribe if you love this.